My first ever job was with an accountancy firm. I joined on a training contract, which meant that for 6 to 12 months you had to study towards exams, which then determined whether or not you're going to join the firm and become a tax accountant. I was good at studying, I just graduated, so I put everything into the exams. I gave up on social time with friends and family, I gave up some hobbies. I really wanted to make sure I had as much time as possible to study and to ace the exams. So the exams came and went. I thought I did pretty well, nothing to be alarmed about at all. A few weeks later, myself and colleagues decided that, okay, we're going to go and find out what our exam results. Now, the results were published in a paper, and we went to Piccadilly Circus, which was the location where the first copy of the paper was always sold on a daily basis. So we got there, we all bought our own copy of the paper, and we all stood there looking for our names in this long list of people that had passed the exams. I looked and looked, and my name wasn't there. And I think on my way home, that was probably the longest journey I'd ever had. I just felt so disheartened and all sorts of emotions that day and over the rest of the weekend. So the next week I went into work and went straight to see the partner for my department. He was very kind. He gave me an option. He said, look, you can just resit the exams. Don't worry, we're going to give you that opportunity. Now that's what I thought I wanted to hear. But when I actually thought a little bit more, I had a different idea. Over the weekend also, I had a chance to really reflect and think about what I wanted to do. Was being a tax accountant my burning ambition? No, it wasn't. I was good at numbers, but I actually found accounting pretty difficult. And it was hard to admit that initially, but I had to admit that to myself. I liked the idea of working for a prestigious organization and also loved the idea of having a job to go straight into after university. But ultimately I realized I'm not meant to be a tax accountant, so I decided to leave and forge a different path. I was lucky enough after I left to find a new job. It was a temporary job that allowed me the time to be able to research and to apply for other banking and finance roles that had more breadth and more opportunity to explore different roles in different parts of the bank. I applied to a role at HSBC and was lucky enough to get it, and that was the executive trainee program that they had, a 24-month program that has 4 rotations of 6 months in different departments and locations, which really allows you to see a variety of roles across the bank, after which you can then decide what you want to specialize in. I use this example to illustrate one of 4 things I want to talk to you about in terms of career growth. The first thing is keep going. Sometimes when we do hit a wall, when we experience adversity, when we experience failure, it can be extremely disheartening. My words to you are pretty much keep going. Round the corner, there usually is something even better for you. So don't be discouraged. You must keep going. Secondly, I want to say, if you know what you want to do, fantastic. If you don't, look for an opportunity to actually try different things. I was lucky enough to be able to have that opportunity with the HSBC role, and perhaps that's what I should have done in the first instance. So I always say to people, if you're not quite sure, try different things until you find something that you're really skilled at or really enjoy. Thirdly, don't overlook opportunities that don't look that great. So again, at HSBC, I had high expectations for my first placement in the training program. The reality was I was posted to a branch in the middle of nowhere, I thought, in the middle of England, essentially, in a small town. And I was just shocked because my colleagues had been posted to Hong Kong, to Dubai, to London. I was like, goodness, how did I get to be in the middle of England in a boring little town? My initial reaction was, oh, I don't want to do this, but I made the decision to go ahead. And it led to me achieving 2 personal firsts for myself and also for the bank. Firstly, I graduated from that 24-month program at 18 months, so earlier than any of my cohorts. And secondly, I graduated into a role as a branch manager, and I was the youngest branch manager in the region at the time. So sometimes unexpected opportunities come in packages that we don't expect. Thirdly, you have got to be your best supporter. You've got to know your strengths and push them. You've also got to find people that believe in you and support you and can mentor you. And also you've got to do the same for others. In this day and age of social media, you have every opportunity to beat your own trumpet. So know what your skill set is. Continue to talk about yourself and also continue to enhance and grow your skill sets. Very, very important. Secondly, talk to other people about what you do, because people really won't know unless you tell them. Sometimes we assume, particularly as women, that our work will speak for us. Our work will not speak for us. You will speak for yourself. So really establish those relationships, mentoring relationships, peer relationships, and really work on those and let people know what you do. And then thirdly, do the same for others. As you blaze a trail forward and forge your own path, particularly when you have to overcome barriers to do so, please make sure that you also bring other people up as well, support other people, mentor other people. Very important. On breaking barriers, I want to say that firstly, I don't believe that barriers are something that has to be permanent. I personally believe that barriers are meant to be broken. And for me, there are two types of barriers. There's certainly internal ones, whether they're psychological, your beliefs and your thoughts. And of course, there are external ones as well, whether they're social, societal, or cultural. When it comes to internal barriers, you've got to focus on what you can actually do. So focus on yourself. So if your barriers are mental, then you've got to work at strengthening your mental capacity and ability. You've got to learn to improve your skill sets. You've got to identify where you have strengths and try and strengthen those, and also look at your weaknesses and what you can also do to improve those as well. You've got to take control in that regard. When it comes to external barriers, I'd say two things particularly. You've got to speak up. So when you see things that are not proper, not correct, you have to find your voice and be able to speak up. Sometimes we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, particularly when it comes to issues pertaining to women in the workplace, and the way that women are treated particularly. Very, very important. Secondly, use your voice. Increasingly, there are so many platforms through which we can find our voice and express ourselves, whether it's through blogging, through tweeting, again, social media, and even just as simple as speaking up. In every meeting, find something to say. That shows your curiosity and also helps to develop your speaking gene, I call it. The more you use it, the more you actually find that there are opportunities to actually use it. That's breaking barriers. I want to thank NASD for this opportunity, and I want to say Happy International Women's Day to all of us today.